didn't fall off. But so his mama said, anybody was to give you a jug of milk, you just set it right up on your head and just walk straight home, real slow and smooth. You can remember that, can't you, Jack? And what did he say?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. I can remember that. I can remember that. Next day, he went back to work for the farmer again. When he got finished working, he went in for his wages, and the farmer says, Jack, you did good work today. Look right there on the table, and there, sitting right in the middle of the table where that milk was the day before, there was a big clump of golden creamery butter. It was in a cloth. And the farmer says, now that butter is nice and firm, and he says, that is, you can put it on your biscuits, on your pancakes, and your mom will be glad to get this butter. And he wrapped it up in the butter cloth, gave it to Jack, and Jack said, oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you very kindly, sir. And so he made a mistake. Sometimes he made a mistake. He says, thank you, sir. Thank you very kindly. And he took the butter and he walked out to the gate, and he started to go down the path, on the road home. And he thought, now what did she tell me to do? She told me to put it on my head. So he set that butter right up on his head in the butter cloth, and he held his head really stiff, real smooth, so it wouldn't fall off. And he didn't look that way, and he didn't look that way. He just looked straight ahead, and he walked real slow and smooth all down the road. But the sun was out, and it was kind of hot, and he was walking so slow. That butter was nice and firm, but it started to melt. And then it started to run out of that, melting right down his cheek. He stuck his tongue out. I take it real good. Some of it ran right down his neck, down into his shirt. And walking just so smooth, he didn't let it fall off. He just kept walking on home. And when he got home and walked in the house, his mama says, Jack, what is that on your head? He says, Mama, I remember what you told me to do. I put it on my head. It's butter. The farmer gave me some butter. It was a big old huge clump of it, but a bunch of it's down my neck now. I licked some. It was really good. It tasted really good. She says, Jack, you haven't got the sense you was born with. Anybody was to give you some butter, you take it down in the butter cloth down to the spring where it comes out really ice cold out of the rock, and you just take that butter and the butter cloth and hold it down till it got real hard and firm, and then you come on home with it. You can remember that, can't you, Jack? What did he say?
Yes, ma'am.
I can remember that. So he went back to work. And he worked all day, and he went in the house for his wages. And the farmer says, Jack, I got good wages for you today. He says, look right over there at the fireplace, and right sitting by the fireplace, there was this cat. And he said, that cat is the best mouse and cat I've ever had. He says, if your mama has mice in her kitchen, she turns that cat in her kitchen, he won't be getting into your cheese or into your bread or into your flour anymore. That cat will catch that mouse. She catches every mouse anywhere. Your mama's going to be happy with this cat for your wages. And he says, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you very kindly, sir. And he took the cat out, and he was starting out the gate, starting down the road to go home. He says, now what did she say, dude? Oh, so he took the cat down to the water. The ice cold water was coming up out of the rock, out of the spring, and he says, took the cat and just held her right down in that ice cold water, and that cat, you know, cats don't like water, commenced to scratch and bite and scratching real bad on his hand. He finally had to let her go, and she goes running across the field and can't catch her. So he goes on home, and his mama says, Jack, did you do good work today? He says, yes, ma'am, I did real good work. Well, what about your wages today, Jack? He says, well, Mama, you told me to put her down in the cold water, and he gave me a real good mouse and cat. He said she'd catch all the mice in your kitchen. You wouldn't ever have to worry about mice anymore. But she didn't like it. She scratched me. Look where she scratched me. I had to let her go, and she ran away. And his mama says, Jack, can you say, You haven't got the sense you was born with. Say that with me. You haven't got the sense you were born with. Anybody was to give you a cat, you take a string, put it around her neck, and pull her along behind you and say, hey, kitty, 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 hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. And you can remember that, can't you, Jack? And what did he say? Yes, ma'am. I can remember that. So the next day he went back to work for the farmer again. And this time, when he came in from his wages, there, sitting in the middle of the table, there was a great big pork ham roast. This big. It was so, and the farmer says, that ham, your mama can slice that up and you can have it with your ham and eggs for breakfast in the morning. She can make sandwiches out of it, or she can make mashed potatoes to go with it. And she'll be real happy with that. And he says, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you very kindly, sir. He was real polite. And he got out to the gate and he says, now, what'd she say, dear? Oh, yeah, and he remembered. He took a string and he put it around that pork roast and he pulled it along behind him and he says, hey! What'd he say? And sure enough, the cats came out. But they didn't stay long because the dogs came too and they chased the cats away. And he kept right on walking, pulling that pork roast, hey, kitty, 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 all the way home. But by the time he got home, those dogs had eaten it all up. And all that was left on the end of that string was a bone. And she says, Jack, what's going on here? He says, well, the farmer gave me a really big, nice pork roast, and I remember what you said. I tied it on a string and called kitty, 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 and the dogs ate it all up. She says, Jack, you haven't got the sense you were born with. Anybody was to give you a pork roast, you just take that pork roast and you set it right up on your shoulder like this, and you hold it really good and tight, and you come straight home with it. Now, you can remember that, can't you, Jack? What did he say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. She told me this before. Went back to work for the farmer the next day. And when he came in after work the next day, the farmer says, you did good work today, Jack. I have really got good wages for you today. And he brought out this little milk goat. And did you know goats give milk?
Yeah.
Real good milk. And he says, she is a good milking goat. Your mama can milk her and you can have fresh milk, and you can make butter out of that too. And he says, she's going to be real happy with your wages. So Jack says, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. What did he say? Thank you very kindly, sir. And he went out to the gate. He started thinking, what did she say? He says, oh. And he picked the goat up, they're about this big, and he set her up on his shoulder, and she was kicking him with her front legs in the back, kicking him with his back legs in the back, just kicking him and kicking him. He's about to kick him to death, and he thought, oh, she's hurting me. So he thought of an idea. He says, I know what I'm going to do. He turned that goat around like that, so that her front legs went up in the front kicking, and the back legs in the back kicking, but they weren't kicking him. So he's walking along holding the goat. Now this is what I hadn't told you yet. In that town, there was a girl, a rich man's little daughter, who didn't know how to smile. She didn't know how to laugh. She had never, ever laughed. You know, little babies, they laugh, they smile so cute. She didn't know how. She never did. And when she was a little child and she played, she never laughed. She never smiled. And now she was grown up and she still hadn't. And he took her, he wanted her to know how to laugh and smile and be happy. So that rich man had taken her to every single doctor in that whole town. They didn't know what to do. And